I want to be really clear about where we are as a church and where I feel like the Lord is taking us. And I want y'all to know that what I feel like God's doing among us does not rely on me having like a sizzling, sexy vision that you're going to be like, I'll cut my right arm off and give it for this, right? I believe, though, the depth and the significance of what God is inviting us into has the potential to have massive impact in the world around us. And I believe we're in this kairos moment as a church where he's inviting us in your year of Jubilee, if you'll trust me and if y'all all lean in together, you're going to be set free in this season. And that's ultimately what this free to run race for us is all about, getting out of debt and into our next campus. And for the next 3 weeks, I'll really unpack how we can do that. But I just want to say a few things about this so you can kind of see the race ahead. There's a graphic in your little book that's going to be behind me. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. And it might feel a little complicated, but I'm going to break it down for you. It's called a one fund approach. A lot of times, traditionally, what churches will do if they're really encouraging increased generosity is they've got like a separate fund and you can give your tithe and you can give your over and above to this other thing. But what we're going to do for these next 2 years is just kind of compile it all together. And it's called the one fund. We're just asking everybody to increase where they are. And it's going to go in one big pot. And as we meet our operational needs, everything else will go towards debt. And then after the debt is taken care of, we'll begin to build seed money for the next campus. And here's really what this looks like is over the next 2 years, we have a projected budget of $16 million. That's about $8 million a year. If nothing changes, if y'all just give the way you're giving now, we'll bring in about $16 million that we'll be able to use to fund our ministries, to bless those around us, and to continue to slowly pay down the debt. We believe over the next 2 years that we will have a combined surplus of $1 million. About $500,000 a year is kind of where our surplus is living these days based on how we're spending and even how we're partnering with the school and those types of things. And what that leaves us with is $2.7 million that we're asking y'all to lean into, plus the $1 million of seed money, because we want to get out of debt and into the next campus. We want to come out of our debt and then have some seed money to be open to an opportunity that may arise on the other side of all of this in 26 or 27. And so this is the big picture of the race, 16 million and plus the 1 million. That's kind of our starting point. And you can see that little small blue arrow there. What we're asking you to do is consider where you have been giving up till now and go beyond that to help us speed up that last little portion of things. There's a few different ways that you can do that. And again, I'm going to be more detailed, but I just in 2 weeks, but I want to mention a couple things to you here. If you are not yet tithing, meaning just giving the first 10% of what God's given you back to him, that might be your increased giving. It's just, I'm going to begin to tithe, or I'm way far away from 10% and I'm going to start moving in that direction. That might be your increased giving. It's just simple obedience to the tithe. And I'll unpack that more in a couple weeks and the significance of that. If you're a tither, if you regularly give 10% or right around 10%, you might want to consider adding to it and saying for the next 2 years, I'm going to go beyond 10%. You're going to be getting from us, if you gave to us last year, you're going to be getting a giving statement like you do at the end of every January, and you're going to see how much you gave in 2024, and you might consider increasing that amount by a certain percentage or by a certain dollar amount. The way that I'm doing, just to be transparent with y'all, the way that I'm doing is I'm taking what I gave in 2024 and I'm increasing it by 25%. If we all increase by 25% of what we normally give, not your overall income, if you increase by 25%, then we will be able to get over and above what we're asking for. We know some people might be able to do more, and some people, it might be a little less than that. But if we all lean in together and increase by the amount that God gives us grace, we can speed this process up and we can get there quicker. And then lastly, there might be some of you who have stored resources that you would either want to give a portion of to this event, a one-time gift to this race, to this one fund, or maybe you want to tithe off of a portion of your stored resources. I know a guy who does this on occasion. Every 7 years or so, he'll look at all of his stored resources and he'll give 10% of that away. And it's just this kind of act of like freedom, jubilee, blessing to the world around him. That's the outrageous generosity that exists in this house. And we're wanting to call on that from all of you to consider how you can be a part of speeding up the process.